recording, so it's fine. I was doing.
Okay, now we're recording.
Yeah.
Hi guys.
Yeah. So as I was saying, I learned this thing today. I was doing some stuff with Ollie, and he's like, he loves shoulders. His like thing is all about shoulder joint and stuff. But because I'm thinking just about I don't have any issues with my shoulders, like pain or anything overhead. I was just wondering how I can improve it.
I did the lat test on you before, and your arms are like this.
Oh yeah. It pops out. But actually, it was to do with that. Yeah, it was to do with that. So I was wondering how I can improve that area and what he thought. And he did a test, which we recorded, so there'll be a video of it. But it's a similar one to where you stand against the wall just to see thoracic extension, and you can tuck your chin in, see if you can line up against the wall and everything.
Yeah.
But he was talking about the rib cage and pressure that builds up when you do bilateral exercises compared to unilateral, and what happens actually with the rib cage. So you know how talk about maybe rib flaring if you've got wide ribs. So when someone lies down, their ribs pop out. And he was saying how if you're doing bilateral exercises or any sort of those movements, especially upper body pressure, if you're doing unilateral, the pressure inside your body, your breath, the pressure you create within your body will just shift over to the other side, right? But if you do a lot of bilateral stuff, the pressure can't go anywhere else. It can't flip to the other side because there's the same pressure on the other side through that muscle. So it's got to go somewhere else. So what can happen is, if you think about it, our body, one, with the amount of air that's in our body through breath, but then also water, that pressure's got to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that's why if you like say lie someone down, looks like they have really wide ribs. That can be one cause. Especially if they weight train, especially if they weight train a lot.
Yeah.
If it's someone else that's never weight trained, it might be a cause from the way they breathe. So they constantly breathing into their ribs. And you're saying your ribs are so adaptable, they'll just adapt to that. And so the pressure of when you're breathing, well, they'll just go wider. Where I can't remember the degrees he said. We should get him on because he's really good. Yeah. But there's like a certain degree your ribs should be. So obviously narrower.
Yeah.
And today we went through a couple of exercises you can do, and one of them is literally you just lie on your side, and we have a weighted vest at the gym, and then just a power bag. You lie dead on your side, and you have the weight, so the force of the weight on your rib cage, and that, because your rib's so adaptable, it just like compresses your rib back down. Yeah, so it takes that pressure back
so
in.
instead of letting the flare happen, it's taken.
You lie on the
floor on one side, aren't you?
Yeah, there's that side, but then also that side. And immediately, I did it both sides, just did it for a minute or so each side, so not even that long. And when I led back down on my back, it wasn't like, oh my God, my ribs are right in and it's perfect. But you could instantly feel engagement from your obliques, your intercostals and everything. My ribs just felt more in and down. Even when I stood up like 5 minutes later. Obviously, it's something you have to do regularly. But the other thing was also when you're breathing, because obviously not everyone at home has weighted vest and ribs or power bags. So one other way was how you breathe. And so lie on your back, take a big inhale through your nose, tongue to the roof of your mouth. And then, when you breathe out, if you're listening and you two want to do it, if you breathe out through your mouth where you make a small hole, you automatically feel your ribs go down and in, right? So then when you're led down, you breathe out, you feel that pressure, you keep that pressure down to then do another breath in. So you keep the pressure down through the ribs as you do the second breath in, and then go again. And then you keep almost like you're pulling the ribs down into that position you want.
Right. Instead of letting the big...
Exactly, yeah. So you're allowing your... Sorry, what?
Like the Hoffman method.
So, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. So it's all just almost realigning the rib cage. But then you can use that for your overhead work as well, because you can use that breath work to go back. If you're led on the floor, have your arm go back. The breathing work that you would do just before to pull your ribs in. And then as you breathe out, allow your arm to come back to center to then breathe in again, but then allow the arm to go back, but you've
extension.
maintained that rib position down.
Yeah,
There's just so much you can do with breath work that
sounds unreal.
it's unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we then went on to
why is there just too many things out there that you're like, I want to know it, but I'd have to spend another 5 years to learn it.
That's it. It's insane. And we a discussion came up about how, especially like with yoga, and how yoga works so well, probably because of the breath work.
Yeah,
Massively.
there's sometimes
Because you have
just do breath
it's
work.
so
That's it.
exactly like they talk about all grounding with the earth. Like fine, that's not doing anything. Actually, it's the breath work, 100%. Because imagine if you breathed as concentrated, controlled in like a yoga session as you did in your weight session.
Yeah,
Be completely different, I think.
yeah. Well, everything.
Jack, actually, as I've read a book called Breathe in this lockdown. Have you ever?
What's
No, I
that? What's that about?
It's about running.
Crime thriller.
Yeah.
It was again touched on a lot of subjects from the rib cage, like you were talking about, to the esophagus,
Mm-hmm.
to the nasal passage.
You say you read the book?
I read the book, yeah. Like
read the back of it.
Yeah, the nasal and the sinuses, and even as far as how much space is in your mouth for your teeth.
Yeah.
The fact that we breathe, almost everyone breathes incorrectly, creates these shortenings and sinus problems, snoring, sleep apnea, and all these sorts of things. And the book actually is talking about breathing deliberately. We don't get enough oxygen in, and it actually talks about CO2 being how useful it is to the body. But I won't go into that too much mainly because I can't remember it. But just going on to your point, the fact that we take short breaths, means that
it's true.
We don't create as much room here and here, so loads of sinus problems, loads of breathing difficulties, and wheezing, and maybe even like when you relate it to fitness stuff, like going out for a run and struggling to breathe could be massively improved by I recommend it. Breathe.
You think about people's position, like in work, just like down here, crushing the rib cage all the time, like shortening, lengthening the muscles in the thoracic so that they're so weak that they can't return back to normal. So that means you can't lift up and you can't create space for your lungs, because it's not all just about your ribs opening up and down. If you're shortening that body type, your diaphragm can't move anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's going to obviously over time get restricted, isn't it? It only learns so much you do. So yeah, I'd imagine so. There's so much to do. Like there's no way somebody with serious kyphosis can have the same power and breathing and technique as somebody who has perfect postural alignment.
No, nowhere near as efficient either.
Yeah, I don't know that for a fact, but I'm saying that as a fact.
Yeah, that's what most people do. They say things as a fact, and then they write them saying, "Oh, but this is just my opinion," but it's a fact.
Yeah.
My opinion.
But it definitely happens. But like, I don't know if it happens.
It's like, do you see the thing? I think it's this lockdown, wasn't it? With Gwyneth Paltrow and her special diet. Ooh.
Oh man, Gwyneth Paltrow can just.
Have you seen specifically the water thing she drinks?
Well, she drinks. I know that she was drinking an alkaline water, but she was having lime in it, which
adding lemon.
Acidic. She was talking about it alkalizing the body and all, but this alkaline drink with some lime in it, and like you're just like.
So she neutralized it, so it's water. Well done.
But she's the same person that like her children are only drinking monk blessed water from the Himalayas. Do you know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. I can't take anything serious from people like that because they don't get their information through correctly because they're sponsored by so many things.
Yeah.
They're Kira will give you $10 billion trillion if you just say this water is amazing for you and alkalizes its body. She's like, yeah.
Hell yeah. Put the post up. Who cares?
You know what I mean? You can say it very well as well. It's the way they deliver it.
It's the way they deliver it. Yeah, the damn actresses.
True, isn't it? But it's weird how people believe it.
Yeah, but instantaneously. They don't in fact, if you
like
were
the
to
coronavirus. Oh,
yeah. But if you were
when
but if
You're
you
just
were
going to say controversial subjects and have that next to you, is it?
yeah, USA.
Before anyone starts crying, I don't believe that it was a hoax. All right, just calm down.
I don't know about how the layout on your screen is, but if I dressed up as an angel, it'd look perfectly like George is the devil for Simon, and I would be the angel, like on each shoulder.
Go do it. Go and get like someone's.
I don't have anything available.
Yeah.
It's in my cupboard, locked away.
That's for special occasions.
It's one of the kids' toys that just got left.
Oh, sure, George.
Yeah.
It's not a weird game.
You run around pretending you're some sort of like you're Aquaman, just standing in bed, being all like, oh.
One of the games we play at night time.
I wonder what that one's
Have you been littering in the sea again?
Oh, saucy.
That's what Jack learned about breathing. Is that?
Yeah.
Well, we'll get back to you, Simon. You go.
What have I learned?
One of the things you've learned.
One of the things that I learned.
It doesn't have to be like fitness or like.
It's not going to be fitness because I don't like fitness. I mean, sorry, I'm in fitness because I love it.
Yeah.
Matt, do you know what's hit me hard this lockdown more so than any other lockdown, because I didn't think that this one would last forever as it did. Is the loss of routine, man. The loss of routine is so detrimental. The lack of prep on food is just so detrimental because you have no control, and without any control, you just lose control.
Motivation
for your foods. Yeah, you lose motivation and everything, but everything becomes a lot harder. Your routine is out of sync. You're scrambling for stuff. Your meal timing is all over the place. So what I mean by that is that people live their life like this all the time. You know, so when we talk about meal prep and stuff, and it seems quite normal to us, but from somebody who's been meal prepping for at least 12 years, because I make my own lunches, because it terrifies me when you spend £1,000 a month on lunches, and it would have probably cost you £30 at the local grocery store if you had have done it properly. But people do this every day, and I can see why it's so hard to break the cycle, because they get up and I don't want anything, I just do this, and they're always in a panic because they never know what's happening. Rather than being, for somebody like us guys, when I sit down on a Sunday and I prep all my meals for the week, I don't spend any time thinking about food. I don't waste any, I'm sure you've heard it from people in diets before, and they're like, oh, I just don't want to think about it too much. You're like, you probably think about it far too much.
Yeah.
From the fact that you're not thinking about it and prepping for it, you're probably thinking about it over the top. So when you don't have a clue what you're eating that week, every day is a battle.
It's true. They give themselves so many decisions to make when they don't want to make the decision. Yeah.
They don't want to make decisions, so they end up overloading and being like, oh shit, I don't know what they have for lunch, and
where do I go?
Oh, what is the fucking protein? And is there any veg? Oh shit, there's nothing fucking ready. So they spend all, and then they could end up going to the shop. They lose time, but that is the biggest thing to me, because I've experienced it firsthand. Whereas I used to be so disciplined, and I can see how people get into that mindset and then end up thinking, oh, I can't get out of it, and everything else seems too complicated. But the reality is, the stuff that sounds really complicated, it's actually really uncomplicated. You have to think about it at one period of time. If you prep for I prep my lunches from Monday to Thursday, because I know that I can only make food last for 4 days without it tasting weird. So, so that's what I prep for. So Monday to Thursday, there is no thought involved. It's done. Just on Sunday, it's all done. I just go, oh shit, right. I get up in the morning. Okay, grab my lunch, gone, and there lunchtime comes. Oh, I eat the food that I have. Life is great. Stress is very low. George, you know the crack. You've got half an hour in between clients. There's no other period in the day. You have to go get lunch. You have to drive to a shop. Is that not the worst time?
It's like, because then you've got 5 minutes to eat.
Yeah, it's the worst time. Whereas if I had half an hour, my lunch is sat there, I can eat my lunch in 10 to 15 minutes. 5, 10, 15. and then 15 minutes of chill, Jack, is an inside joke. We went to
yeah, I got that. Yeah.
Tell them it's from Owen Lacey and ISI in Dublin. What was he saying, George?
So he was saying you have to take. He was trying to get people to slow down how quickly they
eat
for the benefit of digestion. A method called 5, 10, 15. So you chew for 5 seconds. So you chew for 5 seconds. You take 10 seconds between each mouthful, and it should take you a total of 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Eat your meal.
Yeah, so it's a mindful eating technique rather than just smashing food down your neck.
Wolfing it down.
Yeah. But that's what I've done.
Good tip.
Nice.
What about you,
Good.
George?
I don't know.
Me, okay. One of the things I've learned is I didn't realize I could work in such cold environment.
I'm surprised. I'm actually really surprised, George, because like you're the guy who comes in summer wearing 3 jumpers.
Yeah, I mean it was cold, man.
You're the guy in September that's got the hoodie and the gloves on in the car.
I like being warm. Let's not let's be honest. I like being warm, and I've got no electricity in my garage. It's away from my house. All right. The poor people that were coming and training with me, honestly, the poor people. It was freezing. It's like I feel like they did it because they felt sorry for me.
Maybe it's like one of them SAS things, or like who dares wins. They're trying to see if they can.
Let me paint a picture of what I had to do to try and keep myself warm. Right, so I had my 7 layers, 2 pairs of gloves, 2 pairs of socks, and a hat. This was in January when it was like cold. And then I got this heater, this little like gas cylinder powered heater, right? And I thought, great. And when you turn it on, it toasts the place up a little bit. Of course, what I didn't realize is the gas cylinder cools down as it's being released. And when it cools down, stops working properly. So this is what I've learned, literally. When the gas cylinder cools down, it doesn't work properly. So the heating goes off. So what I had to do, and I shit you not, this is what I had to do, is first thing in the morning at 5:15, before I made my breakfast, I'd get 4 of the cylinders and I'd put them underneath my coat and jumper, make my breakfast and my tea, sit down, eat my breakfast and my tea, right? No joke. You can ask the people, I won't name them on here, but you can ask the people, Simon, who came to see me, right? So then I'd go and I'd put the first one in, which would last 20 minutes. Once it cooled down, I'd have to take it out, put the top back on it, put it back
in the jumper
of my body, take another one out, put it on that would last another 20 minutes. This is the genuine thing that I had to do because it was so cold in my garage that I had to do it. What do you mean?
You couldn't have an electric one?
I got no electric supply. They're like garages that are built away from the houses.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Fucking hell.
And I had to buy 10 LED rechargeable lights.
Yeah.
They are sick though.
They are good. Yeah, I've got some here for like when I go out like catching worms.
Yeah, but I had to you have to charge them every night.
For your other podcast.
Yeah.
Catching worms with Simon. Single podcast. So just you.
Non-fitness related. I learned that gas cylinders cool down as they're
cooling down.
As they're outside, yeah.
You're literally freezing. Like you pick up, it's like, why is this like ice cold?
You're all about, they're like little shot cans, aren't they? They're like
Buntain gas cans.
That's it.
Guess what happened this morning, right? I was training.
This morning it was.
It's 6 a.m. I was in there, right? 6 a.m. I got the room set up. The heating was on about 5:45 before my first client shows up. I trained my first client. I nearly trained my second client for a whole hour. Safe. And at 10:02, I went to use the ball. And the ball had gone. It just disappeared. It's a small garage. The person who I was training was like, "There's no ball in here, George. It's medicine. It's a exercise ball. It's not like it's a golf ball."
Yeah. It's 60 centimeters around.
It had rolled out. You've been to my house, Simon.
Yeah.
At the bottom of when you turn up the road, it had rolled out in my garage, rolled all the way down that hill. First thing in the morning. So I was there like, "Where's my?" Whilst I was setting up, it had obviously rolled out the garage all the way down the bottom hill. My client found it by a car. I'm going to put a picture up on Instagram on it today. It was literally, it rolled out the garage, rolled down the hill, and I just hadn't noticed. I was like,
"Oh, Jesus Christ."
How did it get out?
The door was open, and it must have
just opened it.
Rolled out as I was setting up the equipment. And honestly, so these are the things I'm not going to miss, man. Like,
hopefully no more.
The little things, the charging the 10 different lights and 10 different stations in the house. putting them in the right place in the gym, turning them on. For the videos in the gym, I have to have the light in the right place, otherwise it looks too much like a dungeon.
It looks all right, though. I think it looks all right. The video.
Yeah. Will you continue training it? Will you train yourself in it?
Well, what I'm going to do, get this, you're going to love this, Simon, in particular. I'm making a fight room.
Oh, I know.
I've got a load of mats off Tom D.
And they're rolling around and
Tom D. I'm going to make a fight room out of it. So we're going to get some.
Oh, for the what's it, jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, but also
at least you cleared the place out, though. Like, you know what I mean? It's like you've done a good job from using.
Oh, mate, like
now it's going to be all the equipment once you hand it back or give it back to Ryan or whatever. Then you're going to be like, well, I've got a big load of space. So.
Yeah. Well, he can't take them back at the moment, I don't think so. But once he does, it's just going to be a fight room. So I'm going to put stuff up against, like mats up against the wall. Got a load of mats on the floor.
Yeah. What's the first rule of fight room?
Surely I can't call it fight room. I have to call it something else. That could be a survey. Anyone who's listening, give me an idea about what I can call my fight room. It can't just be fight room. It sounds like a kid made it.
I quite liked it. Fight room
sounds good. After all, it's a film. That.
All right, so let's wrap around to Jack here. So I learned that gas cylinders.
Oh yeah. Down. So it's not necessarily what I learned, but it's an observation / thought in how, obviously, over the last year, loads of people, we've had to adapt to a situation that's affected the globe, and everyone's had to do quite significant adaptations to their life, where for a period they're only allowed outside for an hour. Quite a big thing to adapt to, especially over the whole year for all the time. But then if we ask someone to maybe increase the number of steps they do in the day, it's impossible. Or you ask for a small adaptation when this wasn't happening. So, do you think maybe you should have an extra egg for breakfast, or adapt this part of your life? Beforehand, it was those sort of things. People are like, no, I don't want to adapt to that. But then other huge things where it's like stay inside the whole day, did it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So people don't believe they can adapt to these tiny little things, but you can prove it now, because you'd be like, no, for like 3 months you stayed inside and didn't go outside for more than an hour.
Wash your hands every time you came in and out of the house. You wore a face mask every time you went into a shop, which has never been done before.
Yeah, you weren't doing that.
But we do.
But now you wear your mask all the time.
And what is it? It's natural now. Every car.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got 2 in my car at all times, ready.
Yeah. So it's surprising.
There's people that have to stop wearing masks in the car on their own, though.
Yeah, sometimes though, I do forget when I come out of a shop and I go to another shop and I keep it on, then I come out of that shop and I'm in midway through and I'm like,
I keep forgetting to put the mask on in shops and in buses.
Yeah. Why are you on buses?
Well, my girls like going on the bus. When I take them for a walk into town, like going on the bus. I just walk on. No one says anything. And I get to the end of the trip and I get, I didn't wear one.
I can't believe you're spreading COVID so candidly.
Yeah, I know. I didn't realise.
I did it in the shop for the first time the other day, and I felt weird coming out of the shop. I was like, "Oh my god, they must have thought I was."
Yeah, I know. Just like they must have thought I was one of those ones.
Naughty.
Yeah. No, that's a good point, Jack. Yeah, we can.
I think it is a good point, man, because we ask sometimes as trainers to people, we ask not for large changes. Sometimes we ask for simple changes, but just to be done very consistently. An example would be, have a protein for breakfast. Let's say if you're trying to get a client to do that, and you're like 2-3 days out of 7, it happens. You're like, it's just, it's just one thing that we're asking you to do here. Oh, but it's just so difficult and all. And you're like, it's not that bad.
Yeah, I think people just underestimate how adaptable they actually are.
Yeah.
Because like the last year has proven, we're extremely adaptable. Because now, even though we had this lockdown and it's been since after Christmas, 3 months, you just get on with it and you do it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's annoying, right? But it's just a whole different situation. Whereas
100%.
If we were to drip feed propaganda into our clients, much like the media have been doing,
we're going to do
kind of all
already do it. Is that what you muttered? Oh,
yeah.
put the fear of God into them, that if they don't eat these types of food, you know, they're going to get something. They're going to get COVID, you know, and then just
100%. I think I could say to people that, like, oh, if you don't eat protein, like, your hair will start falling out. Like, if I could just something as simple as that, they'd be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, think about all the films that are on Netflix. The Cowspiracy, Seaspiracy, and What the Hell.
Can we talk about that a wee bit a second, just as you jump in there? Because I watched Seaspiracy, and
do I need to watch this? Is this
but also, it's basically about how, like, you know, everything we do ever as humans is murder in the world, which, you know, we all know that. We know we're murdering the world and killing the seas and everything else that surrounds it. But the documentary upset me because it was filmed extremely badly, and immediately they were lying to us, because that guy, when he was sitting in this little dock, you're not allowed to supposedly film in Japan because the police are everywhere, because they ignore all the rules around orcas and dolphins and stuff. But what he was filming, and then when he was in the shot himself, was in a green screen with fake rain. He was dry as a cucumber, and he just sat there, and it's just fake rain coming down. He's like, oh my God, guys are over here, and you can just see them.
Is that true?
And then it's I guarantee you watch it and you can see the rain. Look at his face. There's no water anywhere, and he's just sat there. And then it'll go to a completely different clip of in Japan Harbor, and then it'll go back to him, which is supposed to be the same place, but it just really.
I'm gonna watch it just because of that.
But the guys that made it made the Game Changer.
That's it.
Cowspiracy.
Yeah.
So you know, they're vegans. The message is the same through all three programs, which is don't eat meat. That's essentially where we're going here. So cherry picked information. Eat more. But
it is, in a way, isn't it? It's because the people in it have a benefit for spouting that message, because they have books, they have podcasts, or whatever it is. So that's
everything.
But from a point of view where it's okay, fine, but I think they should make that way more visible, and that it should almost be like, you know, when people put posts on social media, have to put ad and stuff. It should almost be like, this guy does this. He has a vegan book, so he will push that message.
Yeah, he is biased towards that.
No, and then people go and, like, especially after Game Changers.
Oh my
God! Change their whole life based on this 80-minute film. And okay, fine, but go maybe research it a little bit more before you change what you intake as a human being. Because if you go away, do it, and then you come to me as a client and be like, no, this is what I want to do, fine, I'm going to give you all the advice I can to make it work for you. But don't, it's like the Gwyneth Paltrow thing. It's exactly the same.
Exactly the same. It is marketed propaganda
in a way
for a very specific reason, and you know, again, they're coming up with all these shocking images, you know, of dolphins getting killed and the sharks dying and all that, which again is terrible. And you know, we should all be a bit more conscious about where we get our meat from and our fish and so on. We get that, but these are all just to drive home an underlying message, which is they don't want you to eat meat, and that's what I really didn't like that about the documentary.
It kind of killed it a little bit for me.
James put it up the day about that, and he was just like, no, there, you need to watch the narrative there, because, you know, behind the scenes, these people are trying to, you know, pave their own way and get people interested in all their products and their vegan lifestyle. If I did a documentary on how good meat and protein is for you with fat, I mean, there would be trucks of information there to support all that evidence that doesn't go around slandering other people and other beliefs. It'll just give you absolute fact on why we need it and how physiologically or biologically we need it, and what it does in our body and the benefits we get from it. And it would make for a really compelling documentary, but it's not as sexy as it is veganism and you know, all that sort of stuff.
Like it's a religion, So that's the message, guys. We're going to try and drip feed fear into people.
Well, it's
slowly and surely.
Basically works. Like
you said, over the last 12 months, the media's done it and it's worked successfully. You know, imagine being told you're not allowed to go out, or, you know, basically they said very subtly, you're not allowed to go out or you'll die. That's kind of the diluted message there, and it worked. So maybe that's what we should do. Can't eat that.
Or you die.
We're joking.
No, I know it is.
They're
But I'm
joking.
fed up with stuff like that.
Yeah. Right, go on then, Simon. Your turn. Back round.
What am I still now telling people what I learned?
Yeah, just anything you've learned from lockdown, anything that's you found interesting in lockdown, behaviors.
Surely you've learned so much DIY stuff with like the log cabin you're building.
I've outdone myself with DIY really this year. I built.
Are you calling it cabin room? Fire room?
I call it a garden room. Actually. Yeah, it's not as sassy as that. Yeah, fight room. Yeah, it's not as good as fight room, obviously. Like there's many rules in my room, but first that you're allowed to talk about the garden room.
Yeah.
Unlike the other ones. But it's do you know what? I learned about if I could transfer any of the stuff I've learned about doing DIY into like a fitness related thing would be the power of repetition. Like I don't know I've never used most of the tools that I've used. There's lots of things that I've never, ever, ever did before, but with a little research and a little bit of like an ad hoc attitude towards it and just going for it, over time, the amount of stuff that I know now from making mistakes on there is just unbelievable. Like if I was to build that building again, it would take me half the time. A lot of things would be done a lot better. And this goes for resistance training with nutrition, because you don't get it first time around. You don't just magically click. And I think we said it before, sometimes people have moments where they're like, bang, oh my God, that was amazing. But repetition will get you there. So if you're constantly looking at your diet, being like, I'm going to figure it out, I'm going to work on it, I'm going to lose this weight, you will find that out if you actually want that desire to happen. When it comes to the resistance training, just the fact that you're basing, repetition builds movement pattern, makes everything a lot better and feel a lot nicer. So it all becomes autonomic. So you're not actually there thinking, oh, I need to keep my body. How many times do we think, oh, chest up, shoulders back when we're doing split squats? It just happens now. We're in the position. So power of repetition, man, because I went from having absolutely zero skills less than 3 months ago to be able to, I could build 10 more of these, no problem. And people make some serious money of building them, and it wasn't that difficult now. It was at the time, but right now when I'm like, right, to work that one out. And like I said, if you transfer that through to real life, if you were trying to figure out what was going on in your diet and trying really looking into it in detail, you end up coming up with the answers. We're only the people there to point the small details out to you, so then you change them. Do you know what I mean? As trainers, we're there to be like, ooh, actually this, you're not really recording the oil that you use in your meat, and by the looks of it, you're having half a bottle a day, like Jamie Oliver said. So that sort of thing. So power of repetition, man. I think if you did anything 1,000 times, you'd be better at it 100, in the 1,000th time. If you using a hammer, using a screwdriver, doing a lunge, doing a squat, 1,000 times later, you're going to be pretty good at that. Like,
yeah.
No. That's
really strong. I like that one. That's good.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
That's really good.
But I do have a log fire, and it's sick.
It does look sick, actually. Yeah.
It looks really good.
And the projector, man, the projector's the bomb. It's the bomb.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to come around on Friday.
We watched fighting there, yeah. Like yesterday, I watched the UFC yesterday on the big screen, just like log burner on, sat down, cup of tea, watching some people beat the living daylights out of each other. Great
Not
time.
the fight from the fight room, then.
No, not that. It's too graphic. I can't.
Too graphic. The fight room fighting.
Yeah, there's too much crotch action on that one.
Oh, I forgot. I haven't told Sally about the fight room yet.
Yeah, it might not be happening anymore.
I was thinking of seeing if I could sell this house in the garage.
Yeah. First rule of fight room: don't tell Sally about fight room.
The second rule: do not. Yes. I've got another one, and I think this is something that we all generally practice anyway. Is that the more I tend, the more harder I've been working, the more I've been giving. All the free content, the contact with clients, the obviously we're doing sessions with people still, but I think there's the people who you're seeing is very different. It's very different to just see people and then see people with communication, and then the people you aren't seeing is communication. I think with all the stuff that's gone on, the more you give, the more you
receive and
you get back, right? So I think the people have been really appreciative, of all of that, and the people, as if I'm some sort of the one person.
My people.
Yeah. And which has meant that they've been very supportive, but also it means that it's fulfilling. Do you know what I mean? And relating it to fitness, the fulfillment comes at the end when you've achieved your goal. But you can't achieve your goal without putting the work in, whatever that work might be, whether it be research about nutrition, the constant repetition of it all, the turning up for sessions, the monitoring progress. All that sort of thing is putting it in, and I think that's something that, again, we've probably already been doing. But if you want to relate it to fitness, that's another thing that people need to think about. It's not just going to happen. Your Wednesday isn't just going to happen. And for all the little motivational things that we can do, the things that to help keep us motivated and all that, the fact is that what you put in, you will get out. And lockdown has taught me that a lot. Is that I think being self-employed as well, we have no choice but to do the work we did. We're not furloughed.
Yeah.
We haven't got the income. So without, and I think, Simon, you are the same as me. You fell between the lines of
I don't get no hidden zero. I think you got more help than me, I think, because you're self-employed, whereas I'm limited.
No, I didn't get any because I wasn't
Oh, right, okay.
Self-employed long enough. I got nothing. Literally nothing. So
nice.
we if we weren't furloughed, and I'm not saying the people that furloughed were being lazy or anything, far from it, but my point is simply that we had no choice but to put it in in this time, which means that we got it back.
Pay back then. Yeah.
What you'll get back in the gym or whatever type of exercise that you do, what you get back is what you'll put in. So that's a really valuable lesson that I've learned, not just in fitness, but through life, I think. That was.
Do you feel like you have a better relationship with your clients because of what's happened? Because of having to do the lockdown with them, having to, you almost feel like some of them. I find especially if they live alone, you're almost like a little source of freedom for them for now.
Yeah, I think so. I think people were so demotivated at the start of this lockdown, of this particular one, this latest one.
Yeah.
Yet I had so much more commitment out of them.
Yeah.
Because I think
one of the reasons is, like you said, Jack, it became more than just about, I need to keep up my fitness. It became, I need to keep my sanity. I need to keep my routine, like you said, Simon. People were breaking routines that they've been had, and they wanted to keep some level of that as well. So, I think definitely I've built up more relationship with them for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, so I think fitness, in a way, fitness almost went down. Like the fitness goals and that sort of level kind of went down. It's like, look, don't worry about this aspect. I'm not too worried about it. Let's just keep going. Let's just keep plugging away at something. You're doing something, and then who cares if we take 5 minutes to finish chatting about whatever it was? Because at the end of the day, we're just
helping.
Exactly. So like ideally, in a perfect world, you'd only have 90 seconds right now, but I'm going to let you finish what you say. I'm not going to rush you in between your split squats. What's the point?
And you can tell when somebody just wants to have a chat as well. And like I said, it's almost like our job has been and it always has been therapy, because we're asking people to kind of trust in us and tell us things that they don't really want to tell. You go to someplace, no, I eat well and I do this here, and we're trying to get them to be like, what's going on here? Why aren't you eating so well? And break down, it might be insecurities or something else. So like it is, in a way, it's therapy, and there's an unbiased opinion because we don't know the people in their lives, so they can let go. But definitely in this lockdown, I mean, it's just been a survival point for some people where they're like, working or not working, whatever, but they're not having the actual interaction. It's just all work based and then nothing. But having somebody ask how their day is and what they've been up to and so on, there's not a lot to talk about, but I've still never had not had something to say, or they've never run out of conversation, because even if people are venting about how crap the situation is, it makes them feel better.
Just like a sounding board almost.
I can relate to it, they can relate to it, we're all in the same situation. So it's just nice sometimes for the people to just go mad at somebody. Do you know what I mean? For a
Yeah,
client.
it's true, because you're outside of their work, and the people they probably speak to are either their family, or if they are living on their own, it's the people they speak to most often would have been work people. So
you
it's
don't do that.
nice to not speak to someone from work and just be like, Jenny's a dick, and be able to say it and with no consequence. Like, I don't know Jenny, she probably is. Sounds it.
Yeah. I'll be like, yeah, Jenny is a dick.
Back on it, have no idea. But like, yeah.
Can I just add, just quickly, we have a listener called Jenny, and if you're listening, Jen, it's not you. Who we're talking about.
No, it's not.
Just so we're clear.
It's not. Maybe sometimes. No, it's not.
No.
Do you know what else? Do you know what else I've decided that I do too much? I do way too much research into this whole coronavirus stats and data and all this sort of stuff, man.
I watch the news and I'll be like, there's 2,000 people who got it today.
Well, I watch the news and I go, let's go look at the data in a bit more detail and see.
That's how you get upset, though, man. That's how you
get upset. And I think sometimes ignorance is bliss, because I read something that they've said, and then like, well, that's not right. Why have they said it like that? Because that's wrong. And it really annoys me.
And did you spend the whole day angry?
And then people are like, well, you're a conspiracy. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. That was wrong. I'm not just saying it was wrong because I want to. I've looked at it and it's wrong. So why are they saying it like that? So it's, so I think
not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, but I think next time this happens,
people should use it for everything.
Next time this happens, hopefully it will never happen. But if it happens again, I'm going to go with the ignorance is bliss and just not listen to anything. Anything.
The problem is you can get down rabbit holes with such a situation like this, because you've got a lot of really intelligent people who are posing questions that are theories, but there is no evidence.
Yeah.
And it sounds really convincing, and you're like, oh my God, is that? And then you're on a train of thought that really is taking you nowhere, because regardless of what this one guy thinks or these studies might say, ultimately we're controlled by the government.
Yeah, nothing's going to change. So why get upset about it? The thing I got upset about the most, I think, in these lockdowns is when like the first 9 months happened, and over the Euromode data across the world showed that whether places locked down or didn't, the same shit happened. It's just that ours was like it spiked and then it went right down because no one was going out, and then it spiked again and then it went right down. And the places that didn't lock down, it was just like it spiked, it went down, and then kind of stayed higher than usual. More people were dying than usual, but kind of in a
the same amount as the spike and drop, the spike and drop.
Yeah, but they didn't lock down, but actually it was okay. Not okay because more people were dying, but like not so detrimental that they were, there was people being laid out on the streets. And it's just like, and I was looking at it thinking, but we've got that data now. Why can't we not lock down and, but there's more context, obviously, like you said, Simon. There's not, it's not just as simple as that. Otherwise they wouldn't have done this. But that's what I mean. I think next time, if ever it happens again, I'm just going to be like, right, I'm just going to turn everything off. I'm going to throw my phone out of my house, and I'm just whatever I want.
I think you should
lock yourself in fight room.
Yeah, just go to lock yourself in fight room with a walkie-talkie, maybe.
Yeah. With all my supplies of beans.
And your gas canisters up.
You're gassing with like 20 jackets on, keep them warm.
I've got an AK somewhere in the back of the room.
For what?
All right. So I think we should go here. We've tried to stay non-controversial through our whole podcast life, which has been about a year.
I wasn't trying to
pose the question about vaccine.
When is it? Is it been a year?
Has it been about a year? Yeah. In about a month's time, it'll be a year, I think. No, me and you did it week 3, Simon, of lockdown. So it's probably next week it would be a year.
Yeah. I'd imagine so. Yeah.
Jack wormed his way in a bit later, but we had already started.
I wasn't the first guest.
He's coming in there and he was just his knowledge.
I'm over it.
Mate, but you did it so well that you stayed forever. But anyway, I was going to ask a question about your thoughts on vaccination passports.
I'm going to give you the right answer here. All right, because there is no wrong answer here that comes out of my mouth. So you guys are all wrong. It's all right, and I'm going to explain why it's all right and why people are losing their shish kebab for no reason. If you don't want the vaccine, no problem. Give yourself a COVID test. It's free. And if you want to go to a concert, you provide a test that says, hey, you don't have COVID. Sound. If you have a vaccination, sound. because you've got a passport there. They say you got a vaccination. If you've had COVID and you have antibiotics, sound, you've got information there. So I think I don't think it infringes on our freedom. I think it's open to all possibilities, because if you don't want the vaccine, all you have to do is prove you haven't got COVID with a free test. It's not asking that much of somebody. But personally, if I was a business owner and let's say I run an events evening somewhere, and I had all these people coming through my doors, and someone in there is going to come in and give COVID to my members of staff, which means they're all going to start turning in sick, and eventually, or it could lead to somebody actually dying, then I'd rather take the risk and be like, look, can you just prove that you don't have COVID? I'll let you in.
Yeah.
You know, it's free. It costs no money. And whether you have a religious standpoint on non-vaccination, you're a non-vaxxer as a you know, that's your opinion and what you feel is right. Or you just don't believe it works. It doesn't matter. Just prove me that you don't have COVID and you can come in here willy-nilly all day long. It covers all bases.
Well, I've read a little bit on it. I don't know when they plan on bringing them in, because surely it makes sense to do it once everyone's had it.
Well, that's what they're doing.
The vaccine that's possible. So it'll be ages away.
They're piloting it in April with bigger events.
Yeah.
And then they are, once everyone's been offered the vaccination, then they're going to bring it in. Once the whole population.
Right. So the events in April will only be for certain age groups?
I think it's like sport events and stuff. Well,
so what about if you're like 15?
You got to remember, like
you're 20?
Simon said, it's not just the case of the vaccination. You can prove that you haven't had.
Right. So
so as long as you get a free, so we're offering free COVID tests now for this. So, I mean,
and then you've got the antibodies. If you've had it within the last 6 months, the virus, that you've had it and then recovered,
you're right.
You're also all right.
Yeah. Like, do I think it will work? Probably. It should, like Simon said, but I don't think it will, because I think it will probably
there'll be false
it will cause more problems. It will cause more problems in the sense that they will have people like anti-vaxxers who are already of the probably incorrect opinion, and they'll kick off and they'll cause all trouble, because they've been causing some sort of trouble throughout this whole thing anyway.
Yeah.
And the fact you then put another layer of divisiveness between them and doing what they want to do, they'll kick off even more, which will then in turn screw everything up for everyone else, which kind of is the way we've learned this always works, that there'll be a few people that break the rules and ruin it for everyone else, as it did in school, when the teacher told you to be quiet, but 2 kids carry on talking and ruins it for the whole class. That's what I kind of think will happen. It shouldn't. It should be exactly like Simon said. You have a way of proving you don't have it, crack on. But there'll be people that will be annoyed because they'll have to do this tiny adaptation to take their test and not want to do it.
But nobody complains when they go to Africa and they have to get their Ebola jags and everything else. And you turn up there and you just get these injections just because you can't enter the country without them.
I think there's a little. I think I'm pretty on board with it when it comes to going abroad, I have to say.
Yeah.
Pretty on board with it.
Well, that's your own choice, isn't it? In every country, if they're saying like, look, that's a crack, like you come here.
I totally get that. I do actually get the bigger events, because I think it's easier to monitor. You know, very easy to go online. You're booking Glastonbury.
Yeah, 2 days before.
Here's your reference for your vaccination. Go. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I think that's stuff like that is probably easier to. But then obviously that's a year before you go. So usually, so if you don't want the vaccine,
you have to provide a negative test within 2 days.
Yeah, so, and that's not that hard.
You can order that 3, 4, 5 weeks before whatever it is you do. You take the test. If you've got it, then you don't go. You've saved everybody a load of hassle. If you don't have it, then go and have the best night of your life.
Yeah, I mean,
people will make it more complicated.
That's the thing. People mess it up for everyone.
Well, why should I have to prove anything? Why should I?
It would be
a personal thing here. Like people have been dying because of this one disease. If it was something that just killed you outright, then people would be like, yeah, all right then.
Yeah,
but because it's kind of like, oh, it might kill you, it might not kill you.
Isn't it? I think there's a really high survival rate of people who are under a certain age.
Yeah.
And actually, now the people who are over a certain age, most of them have been vaccinated. I think this is the issue. One of the issues that people have with it is, well, do you need to make me take a vaccine? I think is what people are thinking. and it becomes more about well, hold on, I'll make the decision.
Yeah.
Whether I should, rather than you telling me. Actually, I think people are worried about it becoming a state where you have to show this.
Vaccinate every year.
There, I think that's the.
I mean, this is the most communist we've ever been as a country for forever, just because of the decisions that have been taken away from our hands because of the government.
And I think
but also, this is
all
a
of these
really,
decisions
really
are
rare
fine
situation.
as long as they give back the.
Well, I don't think they'll be forever. They should, in our country, it should be open to vote. So if they say, look, we're going to do it for a year because we need to figure out the data. We need to figure out, if COVID's going to come back again, if it does in the winter, whatever. And then after a year, we'll put it up to vote to see if the people want to keep this in.
Yeah.
Then nobody can argue with that.
I think that's the thing that people get annoyed at and don't comprehend is that the people don't know. The people making the decisions don't really know. They've known more than us.
Yeah.
But they've not lived through this. They've only ever read about similar situations that happened. When was the last time this happened? Not hot on history. So
SARS,
Spanish flu.
SARS, is that it?
Oh, SARS. Yeah, that's
but
it.
that was only in Japan. That wasn't here.
There was also scarlet fever. There was all these things that happened
but not to this scale.
Not to this.
So they're learning as we. So we're an experiment.
I suppose HIV. To a degree, I know it's sexually transmitted by, but that's.
I guess, but it wasn't
not on wide scale.
It wasn't as spread as it wasn't like spreading as fast as
it
was.
Because
it
wasn't
like
sexually transmitted. There wasn't, but it was certainly more deadly.
Yeah.
Then it was,
but I guess people forget this. They're trying to figure out the best way to do it at the same time as we're living it.
It's happening.
So, I think they could just say everybody time out for 2 years to be figured this out. You can't do that. You still got to be
exactly. Yeah. So I think people often forget that.
Yeah, I think I was when it first was proposed and it was just about the vaccination. I didn't like it too much, but when it came out that they were going to also do
passports,
give you the test option and the antibodies if you've already had it option, I think it eased me a little bit because I thought, actually, it's just about not spreading the virus, rather than forcing people who don't.
Well, what is a harder thing to live with? Doing a test 2 days before you have a major event that you're going to go to,
or lockdown,
or going into lockdown for another 8 months.
Yeah, exactly.
What's tougher?
Yeah, exactly. So I think when all that came into it, I was a bit more easy going about it. The issue I had with the whole, if it was early vaccinations, is what people forget is there's a certain amount of people that aren't allowed to get the vaccine. Forget about people that don't want the vaccine. There's people that just can't have vaccines.
Yeah. I know a bloke, like a guy that walks his dog in the morning, and he can't because his allergies are so bad.
Yeah.
Most of the vaccines, there's none. I think the Moderna might come out, which might be a little bit more tolerated for him, but he can't have the Pfizer or the Oxford. They're just like, nah, you're not eligible for it. So there is going to be situations, and again, there's religious things and everything else that there should be. But that's why I said, if you can just, that guy can still go to Glastonbury. He just has to prove that he doesn't have COVID.
Man, there's people that are scared of needles. There's people that are scared shitless of needles. Real thing. So they're not having a vaccine, are they? I know people that when they see needles. So
get them when they're fitted. Then
on the floor.
Nothing. It's fine. We're not going to do it actually.
It's this massive bruise on my arm. No.
Oh, my arm! Yeah, my arm's dead.
Fainted, then fell into the needle.
Yeah. You ejected yourself, man.
Yes, that was the only thing I was thinking about. I was like, what about all these people? And it's there's some people that will say, we shouldn't base our major decision on the 60,000. I think they worked out there's probably going to be 60,000 people in the UK that
don't have
that can't have it.
Oh, can't have it physically.
Which is not a great deal of people considering we've got 70 million in the population, right? But then you could also argue that around 100,000 people in excess of normal died. The wide scheme of things with 60 million people, you could argue that we shouldn't be making huge decisions based on that. So I don't think that's a very nice argument for people who are considered who can't take the vaccination, because there's some people who are probably really vulnerable who can't take the vaccination who really want it.
Yeah.
And they're really frightened of
going.
So it's there's no right answer, like you said.
Nah, just my one, but
it's
it's
my
just.
popular yeah.
I just think it like push comes to shove, we all prefer freedom, and there's more people now this year that's lost their lives through depression and suicide than probably any year that's ever happened that we've been alive anyway. Because there's people isolated, and I would say that the worry is that it's from people of 30 years and younger, and possibly 20 years and younger, because they're the ones that feel the impact of things like this more than us, because we've had our time. We've had our time in school. We've enjoyed our friends. No, but we've got to do all the really normal stuff, haven't we?
Yeah, we got through
university, like party, and all these people who have gone to uni for the first time and then being told they stay in the room.
Yeah, people
like, oh, fresh.
I know who are supposed to be having their gap year and gone places to travel, and they're just like, no, you can't.
Yeah.
So
you know what I mean? It's like, I'd rather take a vaccine.
Or stick a thing up my nose 2 days before a thing.
That's it. Then suffer that just because we're like, well, I don't feel like I have to take it. But don't book the event. Don't book it if you don't like it.
Don't go there.
Why are you booking it then?
Yeah. Same thing as you said earlier.
They book it. Yeah, you should. But it said on there, they book this event. You have to do X, Y, and Z. So, and there's no different than being like, oh, when you come to this pub, you have to wear clothes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, damn it.
Is that the rules?
Well, in some pubs, not in Ireland, obviously.
I was going to say, I didn't know that. I better start.
Yeah.
Is that an insight into a rule of fight room?
That's it. I'm going to be the next. I'm going to start swimming, and if they tell me I have to wear goggles, I'm going to be human. I can see underwater perfectly fine.
You have to wear a nose plug. I don't mind it going up my nose. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't get it up my nose. I don't get this, man. It doesn't
breathe out. Breathe out. That's all you have to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all them people trying to breathe underwater, thinking they're from water.
Who are these people that are going underwater going, oh, it's in my nose? Because you breathed in. Don't breathe out, and then hold your breath and go. It's fine. Yeah. Well, that was quite good, I thought.
Well, we solved a few wrongs there anyway. So.
I wonder if I get shouted at for saying some stuff.
Oh, you're dead, man.
About this.
Like people with pitchforks outside your house.
Yeah, I'd say it. Yeah, but socially distant pitchforks.
Yeah. But that's good.
Just make sure you have your passport or a test proving 2 days before you do it that you're fine to come outside George's house.
As you guys all know, I don't want to go to any festivals, any music. People near me cannot
or see people.
Social distancing was never a problem for me in the first place.
You've been doing it naturally for your whole life.
Preparing.
Yeah, I mean, I would go to watch a football match, I guess.
Yeah, you guess, man. Come on, man. If somebody bought you a season ticket, every match you go.
Of course, I'd go.
Yeah. So that's you're like, oh, I don't like crowds unless it's for Man United.
Yeah, but football people are like-minded to me.
What, hooligans?
I'm not.
Yeah, well, I've seen your life, man. I've seen your friends.
You're creating a room called Fight Room.
Yeah, I know, man. Come on.
Kind of,
It's for self-defense.
A self-defense room.
I'm a short individual. Okay.
Feel intimidated.
Exactly. There's bigger boys out there than me.
You roll around their ankles for them.
Bigger boys. Do you remember? Anyone?
No.
Bigger boys. Kevin and Perry.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Is it?
Bigger boy. They got beat up, and they were like, "What happened?" They were like, "We're bigger boys."
Paul. Ladders. Yeah.
We have chatted some shit this hour.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
We're back in reality next week. We're back in.
Yeah, we're back to reality next week. We'll try and get a guest on. Yeah.
Why not?
All right, boys. Thank you for your insight.
Hit me up with some times as well, because you need to organise when you actually are free.
What for the podcast?
Yeah.
Can't do the same time then as normal.
No, I could do the same time. I just want.
Then just leave it.
Just leave it for now, and then I'll.
Then we're good.
Perfect. All right then, guys. Well, I shall see you.
We should actually try and do one where we're all in the same room. Yeah, now that you are permitted to travel.
But since there's two of us down here and there's one of you up there, we should go to London.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I prefer to go to London.
Yeah, I want to go to London. I want to see your gym, man. I want to go in there and lift all its weights. I want to go in there and do a tricep extension with your full stack.
Yeah.
Can I do it?
You can do that.
Yeah. Came up the fitness lab, completed it.
We'll get like
do As long as you do a
We'll all
lap
get
pull
headsets.
down, just
Because everyone who does podcasts has headsets and a mic.
yeah.
So
There's actually just down the road, Elephant Castle. There's a little podcast studio thing. I think
Class.
you can rent it. I think I'd have to look at it.
Have a
but
look at it, man,
maybe.
because that'd be quite
Yeah.
cool.
put it in the podcast fund, offset it.
Yeah.
People listening would actually hear us clearly rather than
Yeah.
Oh, I could
Via
Zoom.
Zoom. Via Zoom communications. Oh dear. All right, boys.
No, I'm
Thank
interested.
you very much.
Cool.
Good luck on
pleasure.
Monday when we open up.
Mm.
Which, when this
And to
podcast
you.
is out, good luck tomorrow when
Ah.
we're opening. So, yeah, and I'll catch you next week.
See you
Awesome.
later.
Thanks, listeners.
Okay.
Hope you offend anyone with the COVID stuff. It was
Yeah, you definitely did.
questions. That's all. No opinions.
We're gonna get cancelled, George. There's no point in doing that.
George,
Never see you guys again.
Bye-bye.
Brilliant.
Yeah.